live, ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Back-to-back Military Bowl champions. East Carolina wins it 23-17 over Pittsburgh. ECU concludes the season with 9 wins, the most since 2013. We've got a lot to get into. Pirates really overcoming a ton of odds to win this football game. We'll get into all that and more over the next hour. Just a great day in Annapolis. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And Philip, I will send you our YouTube graphic here shortly. Thank you for the reminder. Philip is producing today's program, freshly back from Charlotte. Philip, how you doing?
I was doing better Saturday than I am now. Let's put it that way. How are you guys?
That is very fair. Me, you, and Bobby Howard very happy to be wrong with our pick of Pittsburgh over ECU, as are a lot of ECU fans. That laugh is the voice of Joe Sampson. He is back. Joe texted me. He said he's working from home this week, so he wanted to hop on. And I'm like, well, Joe, let's just have a throwback Reaction Monday show. What better time to do it than to recap the Military Bowl win? And, man, what a day it was for the Pirates.
God, first I got to say one thing, which is that the Military Bowl is the home of the Pirates at this point. Now, back-to-back champions would have had 3 and 5 years if it wasn't for those talons of Golden Fury known as Boston College who ducked out of it, because we would have beat the brakes off them the same way that the Pirates beat the brakes off Pittsburgh. Because when it comes to the ACC, there's nothing like the American. I'm excited to be here, excited to be with the boys, back fired up, because there's nothing like a Pirates victory, and there's nothing like a Monday after a Pirates victory, because the hangover has subsided after the celebrations that ensue, and the tarps are back on after the fans have taken them off.
A lot of excited people in the comments section. Continue to drop your comments and questions. We will try to get to those over the course of the next hour. Quick programming notes for this week. We're just going to have a show Monday and Tuesday. By the way, Tuesday's show, Mark Miller, delusional Pittsburgh fan, has already agreed to join us. So he will take it like a champion. And
I want to boo every time he starts talking, like in Cameron Indoor when they boo him when he touches a basketball. Just drown it out, Philip.
You're like, I hope he took a picture this morning of what his office looked like. I did decorate his office after the game. We'll just say that. I hope there's a picture of someone. I didn't take one. I should have.
If Mark is such a good guy, I genuinely feel bad for him, because he's not like a crappy Pittsburgh fan. No. He's like legitimately a good guy, but he's going to be hearing this really probably for the rest of his life. So we'll ask him on Tuesday how he feels.
Including from his kids. He can't even avoid it when he goes home.
No.
This is a true worst case scenario for Mark Miller. He'll join us Tuesday. We'll get his Pittsburgh take on the game. All right, let's just go round table here, guys. Just initial thoughts on the day it was, the win. I'll let you guys go first. I'll break it down after. We'll start with Joe, the ECU football alum. Just what was it like to watch the Pirates win another Military Bowl over an ACC foe?
Well, it was thrilling. There was a little bit of fear, I can't lie, when the refs decided from the Big 12 that it was not the Pirates' day, but that's a normal occurrence these days when it comes to the Pirates being in a situation where the refs are supposed to get it right. So now that I'm not the player, I can criticize that the way I need to. I thought they did enough. I thought they did everything they had to do. Key turnovers, 5 of them obviously in the game, is huge. I got to shout out one player, though, that is on Pittsburgh. I mean, Rasheed Biles is a monster. 16 total tackles, 7 solo, 2 sacks, 5 TFLs. That is a kid that will play on Sundays, and in a big way. So for the ability to kind of take him out of the game in the fourth quarter like they needed to and do the things they did. Obviously, Dida throws 8 for 17, so not the best game statistically, but 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. You'll take any day of the week with no turnovers. It was Pirate football. It was next man up. Who's going to make a play when they need to? Anthony Smith wins MVP, and rightfully so. I mean, 4 catches for 156 yards. I would have took that for my career, never mind for a single game. So just a huge day for the Pirates, and obviously Harold knows exactly how to win these type ball games, and he's proven it time and time again. And if anybody wants to doubt that man should be leading this program, my phone line's always open.
Joe Sampson's ready to take your calls. Philip, what was your take on the Pirates' big win?
Well, first off, Joe, the only doubt I have about Blake Harrell leading this program is how long before some SEC team calls and he's leading their program. So that's what I got for you. But, for the game, look, man, guys, they did not win East Carolina the yardage. They did not win in the officials helping them out. They only won this game on the scoreboard. And it shows you the resiliency. It was not a pretty win. And I know that coaches say there's no such thing as an ugly loss, and I get it to them. It's not. But it shows you the resiliency of the young men in this locker room, the type of young men that Blake Harrell and his staff like to recruit, and the type of coaches that they are. Yeah, Chasten Ditto was 8 for 17. Not a great day, but he did what it took to win. Yeah, the defense wasn't spectacular, but they did what it took to win. And hey, Chasten did prove that he is a better quarterback than Bryce Young. So if we can't get anybody in the portal this offseason, we'll be fine because Chasten Ditto can start for an American team if Bryce Young can start for an NFL team. Just saying.
He had to get a Panthers dig in there a little bit. Look, this was the most – I don't know if this was the best ECU win of all time. Definitely probably not. But, I think it's the most ECU win of all time in that nobody gave the Pirates a chance. ECU historically has done such a great job when the program's at its best of just not making excuses and just finding a way to show up with what they have and just outplaying the other team, more heart, more effort, executing in the key phases of the game with great coaching. And this was probably the best coaching job I've ever covered. Firsthand since I started Hoist the Colors. ECU was just able to overcome so many obstacles, so many doubters, including yours truly, including probably all of us, many in Pirate Nation, that didn't think they would get it done. But in the locker room, they believed. The guys who were there bought in. And just for Blake Harrell and his coaching staff, the entire staff, to hold this thing together and the player leadership, it just says volumes about what Coach Harrell has built. He said after the game, this wasn't just a game won in December. This wasn't a game won just this week in practice. It was won really with what they've built. And Blake Harrell at this point, look, he could have easily said in his press conferences going into the games, like other coaches I've covered, hey, we got these guys injured. We got these guys in the portal. Our coordinator's gone. We're just going to show up and give it our best shot. But he's like, no, we're going up there to win a game. We're fully focused on doing that. We got the guys here. They're bought in on doing that. And he never made an excuse. And his team bought into that. What was left of it, and the Pirates go out and get it done. And Pittsburgh, I thought, showed up, and they didn't have the same juice as ECU to begin the game. And by the time they started playing, it was a dogfight. And at that point, it's anybody's game. And honestly, ECU could have won the game going away. Probably should have. If they could have punched one or two of those scores in early. But guys, I thought just Blake Harrell. I mean, I said it going into the game. This would be his biggest accomplishment as Pirates head coach, Joe, if he pulled it off. And I thought there was what he did as interim coach was remarkable, but the schedule was pretty light. But to do this against an ACC team that didn't have many opt-outs at all, this is to me, this is as big of a statement win from a culture and program standpoint ECU's had in years. It says a lot about the program and where it is right now.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. And that's a lot of people want to isolate bowl games and look at them as kind of a one-off as opposed to a holistic picture when it comes to the season, when you have the Pop-Tart Bowl and you got the Rate Bowl and you got the Cure Bowl and all these other ones where it feels like teams are just kind of playing to play. There are a lot of teams where they're in lesser situations similar to East Carolina and App State and the Coastals of the world, the ones that don't necessarily get that kind of viewpoint, that are only ever in talking points about how badly it would be against a Power 4 team and why they shouldn't be included. And to right the ship now in back-to-back years for Blake Harrell in such tremendous situations where not only are the odds stacked against every single person, you had opt-outs or issues or look at last year. Savone Revel was supposed to be a first-round pick, tears his ACL early in the season. Everything that happens, Harrell becomes the interim head coach, and everybody writes it off. No possibility that the Pirates do what they have to do. They put him on a sinking ship. It's all about steering it and just getting them to the bowl season so they can hire a real coach. Okay, we'll check that box off. Beat NC State, who's I would say probably the biggest rival we have in program history. I know a lot of people don't believe that, and NC State likes to say we're a Super Bowl, and then they celebrate like they beat us as such. But hey, did that. Check that box. Go into Carter Finley, which is one of the tougher places to play. I can't lie to you. And lose less than 7 points when you had a chance to go win the game in the fourth quarter. Okay, tough loss. Go check that box. Oh, the People's National Champion, BYU. Yeah, those guys who should have been in the playoff. Oh, that's right. They're your only home loss out of conference. Cool. Every single time that there has been some kind of an asterisk where somebody wants to put something and say Blake Harrell didn't do this, he's jumped over it. He's done what he needed to do. Oh, well, they haven't beaten Memphis back-to-back in a while, especially on homecoming. They're not going to do that. We'll check that box off. We'll go to the Alamo Dome when we need to and investigate the demons that are there and exorcise them ourselves. But I digress as far as that goes. 9-4 is a remarkable record when it comes to a football team. Never mind if you are ACC, if you are SEC, never mind if you're the American, if you're an independent like those boys over there with the golden helmets, or if you play in the Big Ten who will win the national title this year. That's a very good football team, no matter what you look at. And to see the talent that left in the portal and didn't want to be a part of the Military Bowl, and the changes and the turnover, you lose your OC, you lose your DC, all before you even get to the game. That just shows the kind of leader of men that Blake Harrell is, and the way that this program has kind of defined itself as, cool, every time you punch us, we're going to just step back and punch you in the fourth and put this game away. It's like a prize fighter waiting until the 12th round and knocking them out right when they need to.
Well said, Joe. East Carolina, 14-5, I believe now under Blake Harrell, and
yep.
Yeah, I kind of asked the question myself, and I'm not sure what the answer is. For me, like, what is going to be 10, 15, 20 years from now? What is going to be the more memorable win? NC State in the Military Bowl or Pittsburgh in the Military Bowl? I mean, probably NC State because of the rivalry and the run, but like, to me, like, Pittsburgh was a more impressive game and a more impressive win, and a much better opponent too if you look at it, Philip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the memorable, it's going to be State again. The opponent, the run, the meaningfulness, and the true fans, the people who really understand football, people who watch this show regularly. They'll understand and us, the media. We'll understand what that meant to do that without either coordinator, to do that with a quarterback who had only thrown 7 passes in his entire collegiate career and is only 18 years old. That kind of stuff, it means more just because it shows you that Blake Harrell really, this went from, hey, Blake Harrell is good enough to be a head coach, who's good enough to have this job, to Blake Harrell is a really dang good football coach, and this will portray his career forward and hopefully will portray this program forward, maybe even more so than the NC State game.
All right, getting a lot of comments. Lane Smith says, Man City wins, Pirates win, and the Eagles win. Couldn't ask for much more. Great weekend for Lane, and great weekend for yours truly. Hey, Broncos AFC West champs. Unfortunately, Joe's Jets, Phillips Panthers, not so hot, but at least the Pirates did win.
Whoa. I'm all for the slander here. They have a legitimate chance at winning a division.
We do.
We would be lucky to beat Ohio State right now.
The Bucs are definitely winning this Saturday. I'm sorry.
They are. I know.
But I gotta have some hope for you, Philip. I believe.
I know. I appreciate it, but it's
that over. Bryce Young guy you tried to demean is still a Heisman Trophy winner and a number 1 overall pick. But that's neither here nor there. It's okay.
I went from he's dog water to the jury's still out. I never said I'm ready to crown him a starting quarterback. I've been pessimistic the whole time, and now everybody sees why. And some dude tried to fight me walking out of the stadium yesterday when I chanted Bryce Young sucks. And then I had not been partaking in adult beverages. He had, and he tried to fight me over it.
This is what's really funny, Igo, is when it was first announced that the Panthers traded for the pick, I think we were either recording something like one of the segments. And
no, we were in
Phillip
the baseball press box.
Yes, we were in the baseball press box, and Philip looks at me and goes, "We are screwed." Yeah. At the time, we thought it'd be Anthony Richardson, though. So that's even
CJ.
worse. Nah,
so
I know
we'll get a few more comments in. We'll get a break in. You got some breaking news on the ECU DC front, which we'll share in a minute. So I was distracted by that. Sorry, guys. I wasn't paying attention. Once you guys started going on the rabbit hole, zoned out.
God forbid you do your job, I go.
Kenny Curlings. Credit Kenny Curlings. He says, optimistic Kenny was right again. We believe in this coaching staff and players. Kenny, you were one of the few. Well done, my friend. I got to give it to you. Justice says, where's the Blake Harrell 10-year extension announcement? That is not coming, Justice. Although, look, he just completed year one of a 4-year deal. Let's learn from our past. Look, I am a 100% believer in Blake Harrell. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Let's don't make any rash decisions.
Does he have the Houston kicker every bowl game's a year extension?
I think that is true, actually. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So actually, he does have another year on his deal. So now he's still got 4 years left. So there you go.
We're okay.
He's basically gotten his own extension. Yeah. Bob says, why did ECU only sell 2,500 tickets? Please explain. Well, Bob, there's this thing called transfer portal. A lot of key players opted out. ECU was also in the game last year. It was also an 11 a.m. kickoff. That was kind of the reasons. And it's cold. And look, I thought there was more ECU fans than I thought there'd be, honestly. So I thought the turnout was good. How did it sound on TV to you guys and radio? Pretty solid?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Probably a little bit better. Yeah. Go ahead.
And man. I will say the ones who showed up, were loud. You could definitely tell in the crowd Mike was vocal. And then, I was talking to Mark about it, and he was like, there was a very adamant difference the second he said he walked in the Pitt fans and the ECU fans, and it wasn't just in numbers. It was just, the body language and the energy.
Yeah,
probably the second best bowl crowd I've heard.
The Pitt fans, which they didn't really have much to cheer about. It just didn't. They didn't do a whole lot the whole game, which we'll get into, Mark. All right, we got to get a break in, but the breaking news, East Carolina, I heard about this morning. Of course, we were going to report it after 1 p.m., but, Pete Thamel, all these national guys tied in with the agents, he tweets out, East Carolina is hiring former Memphis defensive coordinator Jordan Hankins as the school's new DC. He spent the last 2 years at Memphis and has been there since 2021. All right, so yes, I've heard the same. Hankins will be the DC hire. He interviewed several weeks ago prior to the bowl game. I'm also told Roy Tesh is expected to be promoted to co-defensive coordinator, ECU defensive line coach, who has been loyal. So he'll get a title bump, probably a pay raise with it. And ECU will continue to run the Blake Harrell scheme and system. I'm sure Hankins will bring his own wrinkles as well. But it'll basically be Blake Harrell's staff in place, Hankins coming in to help call the plays, Tesh getting promoted to DC. So there's your D coordinator news as we continue on. So we'll get more into that as the shows continue throughout the offseason, but there's your DC news as well. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll continue on this busy Monday on Hoist the Colors.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
the best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Like all pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors here on a Reaction Monday. There is a ton going on. If you are not already, check out the VIP membership, hoistthecolors.net. We're still running 50% off. We got the VIP chat going. Big news, ECU has a new DC, Jordan Hankins, coming over from Memphis. We broke that down in the VIP chat this morning as well, and some other news, and a lot of portal discussion going on as well online, which we'll continue to react to as it happens publicly. All right, here on this show, we've got Joe Sampson, we've got Philip Pilkington. We are monitoring any potential breaking news, but we're also reacting to the bowl win. And guys, I feel like one of the things I remember most from this game, ECU wins at 23-17 over Pittsburgh, is the sequence where Marlon Gunn was robbed of the best run of his career. I remember I was still like processing it in my mind, how to react to it and handle it. Like, what should I tweet that isn't just completely just like trying to ruin this official's life? But as I was trying to formulate a tweet to appropriately sum up the emotions of everybody watching the game, then Pittsburgh gets the scoop and score, fumble six to take the lead. It just happened so quickly. I thought the game was over. And ECU's response to that is incredible. Obviously speaks volumes about the culture we've hit on already. But I guess we'll first start with the Marlon Gunn run. Like that, it won't show up in the box score, but I'll remember it forever. Like, to me, he still deserves almost like recognition for the run because we saw it happen. And I don't know. We call Philip the ref, Pilkington the ref for a reason. What was your take on this inadvertent whistle?
Yeah, I'm going to get into that. So first off, Richard texted in and said that he and a bunch of his friends bought tickets off the website. So to whoever asked the question about only 2,500 Pirate tickets, the ones who bought them directly through the Military Bowl did not count towards that 2,500. So there were way more Pirate fans that did make the trip. So want to throw that in there. Secondly, inadvertent whistles, they happen. They happen for a number of reasons. You think a guy stepped out of bounds. You think his knee was down, whatever. When you're an official and you commit this infraction, you own up to it immediately. You don't blow it once, let the play continue, and then go back and say, I had an inadvertent whistle. No, you blow it, you realize you messed up, you blow it 3, 4, 5 more times, wave your arms because you are supposed to announce it was an inadvertent whistle the same way you would do a penalty, so you stop the clock, and come out and make sure everyone stops. Make sure that just own your mistake. Just, I screwed up. Here's what happened. You don't let it happen once. Let your other officials continue officiating. Allow the defense to continue pursuing the ball carrier. Allow the ball carrier to continue running. Allow another official to signal touchdown. That can't happen. That was the issue with the play. Yes, he made a mistake. It was a bad one. Now, I was talking to my uncle after the game because I was listening on the radio. And I was like, oh, was it when he was close to out of bounds or when his knee was close to being down? He's like, no, it was a 14-yard gain. That was the other thing. It would be one thing because the knee got close just after they had gotten the line to gain. If you mess up there when he's wrapped up or you're thinking forward progress, because we've seen that one. That's a very common inadvertent whistle. We blow for forward progress. The second we blow, the guy, spins out of it and takes off. That stinks, but that is understandable to make those mistakes. After the guy has broken the tackle, after he has gotten away from the sideline, after he's in the open field, then you have one? First off, I don't even know how you make that mistake. And then again, own up to it, stop the play. You can't let the emotions of the team take over. You got to stop it. You got to have Marlon turn around, looking over his shoulder, going, "What in the world just happened?" It's still bad. It's not as bad. When you allow it to do that, you allow the guy to get all the way to the sidelines, high five his coach, take his helmet off, and then you say you had an invert whistle. Like, that is a fireable offense. Again, mistake in the heat of the moment. He's human. The way he handled it, absolutely fireable.
Yeah, I agree, because like going back and watching it and listening to it, I think you could hear one small whistle, like as Gunn's running down the sideline. But as you guys said, and as Philip said, like it's not like Pittsburgh gave up on the play. The play still happened. I think Blake said he heard it post-game as well, so he knew there was a chance it could get called back. But the play still happened. The referee's going down the field and signaling touchdown. And the entire team is celebrating. It wasn't until like 30 seconds after the play they made this announcement, Joe. So, I don't know, man. I mean, you can add anything you want about the play if you want to, and also the response to it and the sequence of events that occurred after with Anthony Smith hitting that big reception. I thought the game was over. I thought it was about to get out of hand. But, man, the Pirates proved me wrong once again.
Yeah, I mean, Philip, I appreciate you giving people insight into that. Obviously, that happens often where the forward progress, and I yell about it to this day on the TV about forward progress and how dumb it is to blow that dead when he could have still been on his feet. So I appreciate the insight into that. But I've never understood it, especially being the authority figure that they are. Every whistle is the whistle, especially if it's the head judge or whomever is blowing it dead. The communication piece, like Philip said, will live in my head for a while now. And obviously it lives a lot less painfully than it should have because of what the Pirates were able to do and capitalize off of an issue like that. And the Tulsa screw job is still extremely fresh in my mind, and I don't know if it'll ever go away. And that's kind of what it felt like, where we have all these different methods. You can laser the first down now. You can replay it in 75 different cameras to see which blade of grass the player's knee hit. And we still have issues like this where an inadvertent whistle doesn't get called back immediately, or a 70-yard run is broken after the fact and he scores, and then you have one signaling. The back judge isn't even calling it, or the side judge is still running down with him. I've never... and maybe Philip can speak better to it. I've never understood how that can be such a communication issue. Like, these guys have radio pieces and they have headsets and they have the opportunity to come together and talk about these things. How is there not some kind of a notice? Hey, this person just blew a whistle. Like, even if it's that guy in the truck who's the offsite rules analyst who's supposed to be reviewing these things and making this known. So I don't know. Yes, I agree. Marlon was robbed. I think that run would have been in ECU Historia the same way the Rajay run was against NC State, to kind of put that one away because it would have flipped the momentum. And did I find Smith, obviously, the next drive, we all know, I don't want to say puts it away, but puts the game back in the driver's seat for the Pirates. They had to do some things and capitalize to kind of finish it out. And I give a ton of credit to that defense for playing the way they did, even letting up that big first down in the middle of the field in the 2-minute drill. I was trying to find the words, and I don't know if I have it, but the reaction was so visceral that I was in an airport in LGA in LaGuardia, and I threw my phone into my carry-on bag, like on the ground. And I was like, how did they get it wrong again? So my words are not the kindest to the referees. I am on record. I hate the Zebras, except for Philip. Thank you, Philip. But I'm still blown away that you could get the call that wrong.
Yeah, it was brutal. And kudos to Blake Harrell for, after the game, being 100% class. Now, I don't know if this would have been the same reaction if ECU would have lost the game. John Moody says, imagine that call costing us the game, ? And it very well could have. I mean, that's a 14-point swing in a low-scoring game. I mean, that is massive. So, I do know this. Shout out to the Navy Media Relations Department. They run a lot of the stats and stuff during the bowl game. And during the game, the director of media relations for Navy was basically telling the bowl rep, like, hey, if ECU loses this game, we got to find a way to make one of the officials explain what happened, because it was going to be that big of a play. And obviously it becomes a little bit less of a big deal since ECU still won the game. But essentially there was going to have to be some sort of accountability, and there probably still should be. But because ECU won the game, I tweeted after, ball don't lie. The team that should have won. But I would have been curious to see what the reaction would have been. It was Big 12 officials, by the way, on the call. Phil, you want to say something?
Yeah, the one thing I want to say is, these guys are human. I do get that. But I think when a player messes up, he's got to answer. When a coach messes up, he's got to answer. And let's go back to 2008, and I'm not trying to pour salt in a wound here, but the Chargers-Broncos game that was botched by Ed Hockley. Ed Hockley went out and called a press conference and admitted he was wrong. Mm-hmm. And that took a lot of class. Ed Hockley was already one of the more respected officials in NFL history, and then he goes out there and messes up a call and apologizes. And he explained what he saw, why he did what he did, and what he should have done differently, and he owned up to it. And I think Denver fans at least, could sleep a little better at night knowing, hey, this guy is a human. He admits it. He feels bad. He cares that he did it. He's not just out here for a paycheck. He's out here to do what he's supposed to do, and more officials need to do that more often. Look, if you mess up, I've messed up calls before, and I've had to explain to the team. I remember there was a game specifically. Dude went up for a layup. Guy misses the ball, comes down, looks like he got the guy across the face. The dude not trying to sell it, just flinched perfectly at the time the hand came down. I thought he hit him in the face. He didn't. And I walked up to the dude who I accidentally called the foul. And once you call the foul, you can't go back, and said, look, that's what happened. I didn't let the play start, develop, finish. It really looked like you hit him in the face, and you didn't. I screwed up. I'm sorry. And he's like, you know what? Okay. You're human. You screwed up. It is what it is. But you got to talk about it. They need to be held accountable.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you. And credit again to the Navy staff for trying to make that clear to the bowl rep. Because I think the bowl, I could tell the bowl rep was like, do we really need to do that? And he was like, yeah, we do. If it comes down to ECU losing the game because of this call. So I thought that was cool. Yeah, and then you had a holding call in the next play. It just made it. And look, it probably was holding, but still, it was literally screw job, holding, fumble, touchdown. It was like the world was just crashing down. Justice says, in a world of sports, gambling, officiating has no room for error. The refs can make too much of an impact on the game for it not to be highly suspect. The other thing, too, how about the catch? The catch where the guy caught the ball like a yard in front of the first down, diving forward.
I don't know.
What was that, man?
I don't know.
And they reviewed it, and they upheld it. That was the single worst spot live I've ever seen. I remember watching him make the catch at the 29, fall to the 27. I saw the ref run up to the 30, and I'm like, what in the hell is happening? I about lost it. I'm about to lose on the show just recounting these events.
The thing is, too, is there was no argument that the defensive back was pushing him backwards.
None.
Clearly his momentum, I know momentum isn't voluntarily, but for this scenario, forward progress it is. He was voluntarily going backwards. Yes, he probably caught it beyond the sticks, but he voluntarily fell short of the sticks. And then you review it. That's my other thing. How do you get a review wrong? Which I could bring up another Denver game where I remember people got the review wrong. You guys always get hosed by officials. I'm not trying to. Yeah, and Joe can bring up the Tulsa game. Let's let Joe talk now.
Forget the Tulsa game. 2019 NFC Championship game, pass interference. Bill Winovich calls.
That's not reviewable.
That shouldn't have been pass interference. Well, then they make it reviewable the next year, so they clearly impacted that it was supposed to be something, and now we have 75 angles of every catch, every blade of grass, every piece of turf that a Navy player has ever touched, and we can't figure out if the ball crossed the plane or not. Sorry, I'm really trying.
Yeah. We need Hoist the Colors After Dark so we can say what we really want, baby.
Yeah. We could just go off on officials. So, all right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. Okay. We'll continue on. I do want to talk about Anthony Smith and just his impact and why you do not opt out of these bowl games if you're a fringe pro prospect. Anthony Smith showed you exactly why. We'll touch on that and more next.
storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Hoist the sail!
Welcome back in. Segment 3 here. Hoist the Colors reaction. Monday, ECU beats the Pittsburgh Panthers 23-17, back-to-back Military Bowl champions. The Pirates own the Military Bowl. We've got Joe Sampson, ECU football alum, with us. Philip Pilkington alongside as well. We're moving on from the referees for now. We may circle back and discuss more. All right, guys, I want to talk about Anthony Smith and the legacy he leaves as only a 2-year Pirate, but a guy who last season came in from NC State. We didn't know really what to expect at all. And it just shows you the portal. You just never know, man. The guy had 2 catches for 19 yards in 2023. Comes to ECU. We hear he's a track guy who can't do much else. What does he do? He goes out year 1 in 2024, 41 catches, 799 yards, 6 touchdowns. In year 2 in 2025, 64 catches with his bowl appearance, goes over 1,000 yards for the season, 1,053 yards, if I can speak correctly, 7 scores, also had a 45-yard rushing touchdown at Temple, by the way. So the first ECU receiver over 1,000 since a couple guys Joe knows well, Isaiah Winstead, CJ Johnson in 22. And to me, guys, I don't want to say single-handedly won the Military Bowl, but without Anthony Smith, Philip, you don't have a shot to win. And we said going in, man, the way Pittsburgh plays defense, ECU had to have 1 to 2 Anthony Smith explosive plays, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and, that's kind of the thing is, we said he's the track guy, right? So, again, we knew he was going to be able to take the top off defenses. We knew he was going to have explosive plays. It turned out that he could run the entirety of the route tree, and it was something he prided himself and spoke publicly about priding himself, learning going into the 2024 season. And, they run a lot of press coverage. Even when they're in cover 4, it's very unique that their corners play uptight despite being in cover 4. It leaves them vulnerable over the top. credit to the offensive coaching staff for calling the game to the strength of the best offensive weapon on ECU's team. Credit to Chasten Ditta for making those two throws. Even though the guy burns them, that is still one of the harder throws to make because the guy's that wide open. And, you start to salivate at the mouth. It's like when you see that nice filet mignon coming out medium rare off the grill, right? That's what it's like. And sometimes you can mess up, right? And Chasten Ditta didn't mess up. And to your point, I go with Anthony Smith. Hey, the last thing he's got on tape for NFL scouts is the 2025 Military Bowl.
Yeah, now that the scouts will say, hey, can this guy go beat press man coverage against an ACC team? Yes. And he probably could have had 200-plus yards receiving if they went to it earlier in the game because it was there the whole game. And the second touchdown catch, man, that was just sheer speed. By the way, Jaron Waiters he was so excited, the other receiver, who, by the way, is now in the portal, whole different discussion either way. He was so excited to escort Anthony Smith to the end zone that he didn't block anybody. He almost blew the play. He was like raising his hands up, like, bro, block the guy. Luckily, Anthony Smith outran him. But, Joe, just what can you say about Ant and first 1,000-yard receiver since a couple of your former teammates?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I got to highlight to a lot of people is he left a lot of yards on the table this year. There were a lot of spots where they didn't connect or the deep ball didn't hit, where Caton overthrew him or underthrew him in certain situations. He probably could have been a 1,300-yard receiver alone this year, just with 4 or 5 more catches with his speed and his ability. But this goes to show just the normal run of college football is everybody doesn't have to come from Lake Travis or Mater Dei or St. John Bosco and all these. This is a 3-star kid who came out of Maryland, had 5 offers out of high school, and the only big one, and we say big with air quotes, but Power 4, was NC State. He had UConn, he had Navy, he had Merrimack, which is a small D2, and then he had one other one that escapes me. UMass. That's just the way college football goes. This guy can show up, have great track speed, learn how to run the route tree, learn how to be one of those guys. Because there was another guy who came from a pretty small college and then wound up transferring to another pretty small college after the fact, after some issues. But Tyreek Hill was a track guy, wound up at Oklahoma State, obviously, in the first run, then transfers down to where he wound up and then gets seen by NFL scouts. If you can run and you can catch, they will find you. There are so many players in the history of the NFL that had critical moments that kind of put themselves and launched themselves into some kind of conversation of relevancy or some kind of ability to be seen. Julian Edelman was a quarterback at Kent State. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. He's a quarterback from Iowa State. Like, they big schools, obviously, in regards to conversations, but not necessarily huge schools as far as powerhouses go, where everybody's seeking the talent out and thinking you're going to go out and win a national title. But when you play in games like this, he now has 2 games this year alone against ACC opponents where he can show he got separation. He did the same thing against BYU out of the Big 12. There are Power 4 games now that he has this kind of tape and this type of a showing. He can beat press coverage. He could be a gunner in the NFL and just run down and hit people and make $1.5 million over 4 years and then have set his family up for life in a situation, because it's that important, especially when you're that young guy like that. Jalen Johnson's another one I got to highlight. Jalen Johnson transferred from Georgia when he came to us, and he didn't have a crazy season at Georgia or anything. Comes down to us, winds up being a really productive receiver. He is still with the LA Chargers on the practice squad, still with an opportunity every week to go out there and show his talent, because he did some things at ECU that he couldn't do at Georgia and show those people. It doesn't matter how you get it done. If you play, they will find you.
JR Bull, also Johnny Stats in the chat, says Anthony Smith with 88.1% of the Pirates' total receiving yardage in the game, 156 of 177, which is insane, by the way. So, look, Chasten Ditta, I want to get a quick word in on him before we take our next break. I've got a lot of questions. Hey, is he going to compete for the job next year? I mean, and we can go round table again here. For me, I thought the biggest thing I saw from Chasten Ditta was he looked composed. The moment did not seem too big, and I saw good enough throws. Look, are there things he'd like to have back? Are there things he's got to improve upon? Absolutely. But, like, composure-wise, and you saw enough there talent-wise, I am 100% fine with letting him compete for the job next year, saying, hey, we're going to go get a quarterback. We're probably going to go get 2. But you're a redshirt freshman going into next year. You can 100% come in and compete for the job. You got the respect of your teammates now. You've won a big game. He looked tough. He looked not scared of the moment. So, like, I liked what I saw. And this was probably the toughest first start just about a guy can make as a quarterback at East Carolina, maybe outside of at Alabama next year. But I just thought, like, overall, man, like, he did enough to win, and he didn't lose the game either, Philip. So we'll start with you. Just what did you think of Chastain?
Yeah, I want to give Joe ample time. So all I'm going to say is, look, the stat sheet's not extremely pretty. There were some incomplete passes. Most every incomplete pass, other than ones he was intentionally throwing away, to me looked chalked up to rust and a guy who hasn't played live football in a long time, because the reads were right, the composure was there, he didn't get happy feet in the pocket. I'm going to chalk up a lot of that to just rust, and that's something that you won't have when he's coming off a full offseason. All right, Joe, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, the conversations are always there. Like, is he going to be the guy? Should he be the guy? Is one game? He comes from football lineage here, folks. He went to Lake Travis in Texas. Baker Mayfield, Garrett Wilson, Garrett Gilbert. There is a history there. There's a lineage. You're not some, I don't want to say scrub, but you're not some scrub who's coming in as a walk-on or as a PWO who didn't have a lot of offers and you got a chance to kind of ball out there and this was your moment. He's a legitimate player. He had offers at a high school. He was a great quarterback at a high school, threw for 4,000 yards in high school as a varsity quarterback. He can spin it. And much to what Philip said, rust is a huge part of it. If you're not in that flow state or have that timing, this is probably the first time that he's ever had an opportunity to really be in there with these receivers on a full week basis of timing, looking at this. What's this look like? And I know that they prepped him, so to speak, as being QB3 this year, and he wasn't really the true backup. And they put him in some situations in some spots, but they were still trying to develop some other guys. It is so hard to be a quarterback and not be the quarterback. And that's exactly what Holton used to tell me all the time, is it's so hard for a QB to be prepared like the starter and not get those reps as the starter and see every look and see this off coverage. And like you guys alluded to, the way they play that cover four with those kind of corners offset, that's a very different look from traditional corners. And especially in quarters looks like that.
Yeah, good thoughts there for sure. D. Bell in the chat says he had one bad throw almost picked. I thought watching it live, he was trying to throw the corner route and the receiver didn't get his head around. Like, I thought that the ball was actually where – now, it was tight. It was a tight window, but I thought, like, overall, if the receiver's there and he turns around, it might be a touchdown, but should have been picked otherwise. Yeah, I thought it was a tight throw, but he put it where he needed to in theory. The receiver just was not ready for the ball. All right, let's get a break in, and we will we'll come back, wrap up the show. Got a few more staff notes to hit. ECU bringing in a new receivers coach we'll talk about with Jordan Davis. I know we got a question on that earlier, and then somebody wanted us to touch a little bit more on the new DC hire, so I'll expand upon that a little bit as well. This is Hoist the Colors, final segment on the way, Reaction Monday.
Don't miss year-end deals during the season of giving at Greenville Toyota. Drive a new Camry, just $229 a month, $229 a month. Or new RAV4, $279 a month, $279 a month. Hurry in for the season of giving at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
The season of giving is here at Greenville Toyota. Unwrap a new Corolla, $159 a month, $159 a month. Or new Tacoma, $219 a month, $219 a month. Don't miss the season of giving with year-end deals at Greenville Toyota.
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Final segment here. Got about 5 minutes left in the show. Joe Sampson, Philip Pilkington alongside on this Reaction Monday. We talked a lot about the bowl game. We'll continue to break that down. Just a quick note on some of the moves. All right, coaching moves. Let's see if I can get them all here in the next few minutes. All right, so Dyrell Roberts is taking a job, receivers coach at ECU, taking a job at Wake Forest. Now, this was in place before the bowl game. He agreed to still coach the bowl game, went out a winner. Rodney Freeman is the new running backs coach at Duke. He stepped in as play caller for the bowl game, running backs coach the last 2 years. So both those guys going to the ACC, from my understanding, getting multi-year contracts. So I can't blame them for leaving. Also, the new OC coming in, Jordan Davis, some uncertainty with the offensive staff. So good move for those guys, and they did a great job at ECU. Pirates are also hiring the new defensive coordinator, Jordan Hankins from Memphis. He's been there since 21. Been calling the plays the last 2 years for Ryan Silverfield's staff. Coach Silverfield hired another DC with SEC experience at Arkansas. So Hankins comes to ECU. He will coach linebackers, which is kind of your, obviously, most of the time your coordinator is coaching safety as linebacker. So Hankins will do that. From my understanding, Roy Tesh will be promoted to co-DC as well. I'd expect Hankins to call it. I'd expect Tesh to have a big role in the game plan, just as he did for the bowl game. And then Blake is going to have heavy influence in the defense as well. It's still going to be his system from everything I've heard. Hankins has familiarity with it, and he and Blake have known each other a long time. So it kind of goes together there well. Also, your two OCs, your two coordinator, your OC and DC can bring players. Half of North Texas' team is in the portal. Half of Memphis is in the portal, so maybe they bring some players as well. That's a factor too. And then receivers coach, assistant receivers coach at North Texas, Juan Soto, not that Juan Soto, but another Juan Soto will come to ECU to be the receivers coach per reports, and that's what I heard this morning as well. So I would expect the new OC to coach the quarterback. So a lot of moving parts here, guys. The other thing, the portal opens January 2nd. So the next time after Tuesday we come on the air, it's going to be open chaos. So I don't even know how these coaches are going to do it. It's going to be basically a 2-week window to get players recruited and into school before the semester starts, and that's the only transfer portal window, the only time you have to add to your team. So I don't know, guys. It's going to be chaos. But any thoughts on any of those moves, Joe?
Yeah, really, really excited for the DC move. Hankins is kind of like a football lifer. Played at UT, went on to coach at UT, was there for 10 years, wound up being a DC at UT, and then went up at a high school, and then kind of climbed his way back up to the ranks. But when he was at Marshall under the now DC for Kentucky, they had a legitimately good football team. In 2020, defensively, he did a lot of great things with the linebackers, 2 all-pro selection, or all-conference selection, sorry, wrong league. So I'm excited to see what he does, and just different mindset, different kind of feel as far as things goes. Blake's system is a really good one to be in, but just a different viewpoint. And what do you see? What do you like here? What do you like in these situations? Don't know a ton about Juan Soto. Going to have to learn so I don't boo him every time I hear the name from now on. But just excited to see the Pirates making a big move and trying to make that splash so that they can get to the top of the American.
I have heard, potentially, don't think it's 100% set in stone, but there's a shot that Matt Maddox, offensive line coach, stays on staff. So we'll see. You also have Hunter McKay, tight ends coach. But I would expect, just as he's bringing Soto, Jordan Davis was a receivers coach. Soto was the assistant receivers coach. So he's been his right-hand man the last couple of years. So it makes sense. He's going to know the system. He's going to know what Davis expects from the receivers. Davis, as we talked about during the hiring process, he's probably going to go from coaching receivers to coaching quarterbacks. This is exactly what Eric Morris did, and now we know what he's done. So I think we'll know very soon, Philip, what direction ECU is heading in from a quarterback standpoint. Davis is supposed to be here Wednesday or Thursday, I'm hearing, so it's going to be a busy few days for the guys.
Yeah, I think they will, and I think the interesting thing is going to come down is, does Chasten stay? I hope he does. I hope he stays. I hope he tries to win out the job, but he was a JDB recruit. We do have to remember that, so it's going to be interesting to see where that happens. There is a good chance we have no returning quarterbacks on the roster next year. I think personally Cole Hodge and Raheem Jeter will probably transfer down, so it's going to be interesting to see.
It's going to be a busy offseason. Can't recommend enough. Stay with us. It's going to be a lot of talking points and just an hour a day to do it, plus the online website. We're out of time for today, gentlemen. We had so much stuff to get to. Joe, I appreciate you, man. Good to have you back. We'll get you back on soon.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Glad to be back in the saddle.
Philip, doing a great job pulling the strings behind the scenes as well. Tomorrow, again, we'll have our final show of the week, as we'll be off for New Year's and all of that. So we'll have Mark Miller, Delusional Pit fan, back with us. He'll eat the crow. So looking forward to that, and we'll break things more down tomorrow. See you 12 noon.